Imagine someone walks up to you and says, "Oh, God said you're my wife." A popular phrase. God is saying, I have already shown you enough through this person's life. What else do you want? Marriage is growing up in church, I heard statements like, God showed me my wife. I saw him in a dream. The Lord said, that's your husband. And as a teenager, I thought, oh, that is how everyone finds the person they will marry. I genuinely believed that one day I would sleep, wake up, and there would be a full HD vision with background music, dramatic, maybe even subtitles. And then a voice will just come and, behold, Margaret, this is him, your wife. But then I started growing older, started reading scripture for myself, started watching Christian marriages, started watching Christian divorces too. And I noticed something. Some people married because of dreams and they are thriving, honestly. And then on the other hand, some people also married because of dreams and they are miserable. So clearly, the dream itself was not enough. Can I ask a question? Why do we sometimes trust one dream more than 12 months of someone's actual character? Think about it. Someone is rude, they are proud, they are dishonest, they doesn't respect boundaries, he cannot apologize, and everybody around you is concerned. But because someone had a prophecy about it, oh, there is your spouse, she is your spouse, all of that suddenly becomes, I will pray about it, I can manage, it is not a big deal. Eh? My darling, please, should you pray? Yes. But don't ignore reality. One thing I have realized is that sometimes we are looking for spectacular guidance. Why ignoring ordinary wisdom? We want angels. God keeps showing us character. We want visions. God keeps showing us consistency. We want a prophecy. But God keeps showing us how this person treats people. And can we also talk about pressure? Imagine someone walks up to you and says, "Oh, God said you're my wife." A popular phrase. God said you're my wife. Now, what do you even say to that? What do you have to say to that? People might think you are rejecting God, not just rejecting a proposal. And that's a lot of pressure to place on another human being. I've heard stories that honestly break my heart. People who ignored obvious incompatibility because God spoke. People who stayed in unhealthy relationships because I don't want to disobey God's will, or I don't want to disobey my pastor, or I don't want to disobey my prophet. People who kept hoping someone would change because the prophecy must come to pass. And years later, they are left asking what happened. Is this really God's will? Now, before somebody claims this and says this girl doesn't believe God speaks, please, that's not what I'm saying. Do not mix it up. That's not what I'm saying here. I absolutely believe God guides his children. I believe God can use dreams. I believe he can use visions. I believe he can speak in remarkable ways. But I also believe the God who speaks in dreams is the same God who values wisdom. He values character. He values counsel. He values peace. And of course, it values truth. Those things don't compete with each other, they work together. Think about it this way. If someone says God told them to marry you, but they consistently lie, is God contradicting his own standards? If someone says you are my wife, but they manipulate you, controls you, disrespect you, ignore accountability, should we really blame God for that? Or should we admit maybe the person misunderstood Or maybe they were speaking from their own desires. One thing that scares me is how quickly we sometimes give away personal responsibility instead of asking, is this person kind? Are they emotionally mature? Can they handle conflict? Do they keep their word? We keep all of that and jump straight to, did anybody see a dream? Dream? Marriage is one of the biggest decisions you will ever make. It deserves prayer, absolutely, but it also deserves observation, conversation, wise counsel, time, patience, and honesty. There is something I think about often. If the only reason you are convinced someone is your future spouse is because of a dream, what happens when marriage becomes difficult? Will the dream solve poor communication? Will the vision automatically create trust? Will the prophecy teach conflict resolution? Probably not. Marriage is lived in reality, not just in revelation. I think we have accidentally created a culture where people are waiting for supernatural certainty instead of growing in biblical wisdom. And sometimes while we are waiting for fireworks, God is saying, I have already shown you enough through this person's life. What else do you want? At the end of the day, marriage is not just about hearing from God. Marriage is deep. It is also about becoming the kind of person who can build a healthy home. Because even if God points you towards someone, you will still need humility. You will need forgiveness, patience. You need communication, sacrifice. No dream can replace those things. So let me leave you with this question. Have we made have we made God's will for marriage too mystical and not practical enough? I would genuinely love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep the conversation respectful in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. God bless you. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye for now. I love you.